Ernst Bernhard Josef Theodor Schwitzky was a German writer. He was born in 1885 in Frankfurt am Main. His father was presumably Heinrich Wilhelm Theodor Schwitzky, though a Hesse newspaper identifies his father as Paul Ernst Julius Schwitzky, who however seems to have been his brother, his mother being Clara Michaelis. In 1927 he seems to have acted as director for the City Theatre in Essen, now the Grillo Theater. He married Alice Krause in 1908 and died in Rome in 1933. He seems to have published only 2 items: Der Europäische Fürstenbund Georgs von Podiebrad, a 1907 study on an international union proposed by Bohemian King Jiří z Podiebrad in the 15th century, and his 1914 Das Geheimnis der Gioconda, das Tagebuch des Diebes, or The Mystery of the Gioconda, the Thief's Diary, which we shall review today. The quote-unquote publisher says he had the diary left him inside of a map by a mysterious man he met in Copenhagen, who seemed to know the innermost secrets of all the people around him, even if he had only heard them speak a few words and never talked to them. The writer of the diary never reveals much about himself, only that he is travelling all over the world, ostensibly for pleasure, but the real, more serious reason is never fully disclosed. He arrives in Paris and becomes fascinated by a strange limping man in a Scottish hat, and follows him into the man's own boarding house. Here he relives impressions from the previous occupants due to a strange empathic ability he has, and mentions how once in his mind he lived through the life of a tightrope walker who drowned herself when a clown told her she was gaining weight. And then he becomes supernaturally aware that his limping neighbour is planning to steal the Mona Lisa from the Louvre because he had fallen in love with her. The narrator has no idea how the man found out that one night the museum would be unguarded for 6 minutes, and then realizes he has no idea how he himself found out about it, or how he knows about his neighbour's plans at all. After the robbery, he follows his neighbour onto a boat for a cruise, and then the man approaches him with a sword, and then somehow the writer switches bodies with the limping man, literally becoming the thief himself. He tries to fight against the mysterious force that made him switch bodies, and even tries killing himself, but even though he shoots himself through the head several times, he cannot die. Then he follows the thief in his own body and sees him throw the Mona Lisa overboard, and just as she seems to come to life, her arms are pinioned in place by an old dagger that mysteriously came into the thief's possession. Henry Harland was an American writer. He was born in 1861 in Norwich, Connecticut, the son of Thomas Harland. He attended the City College of New York and briefly Harvard Divinity School. In 1884 he married Alan Hermione Merriam. He published several novels focusing on the American Jewish experience as Sidney Luska, which earned him some criticism from Jewish critics. In 1889 he moved to London and published novels which were praised by critics but were not popular. He died in 1905 in Sanremo, Italy. We will cover his first novel, the 1885, as it was written. Musician Ernst Neumann meets his sweetheart Veronica, but shortly before their planned wedding she is found murdered in a locked room, with him having the key and being the last person to come to see her. He insists he is innocent and remembers leaving and going to sleep. The jury acquits him simply because they see no reason he would have done it, but he has to work under an assumed name as a waiter, before 2 years later he meets the poet Merivale and becomes his secretary. Merivale tries to get him to play the violin again and gets him on the trail of a letter from his dead father, which charges him to never take a wife, and to find the man who seduced his mother, torture him to death, then violently murder his entire family, including women and children. His father writing that he will possess him from beyond the grave if he fails to do so. You can guess what happened then and who Veronica's father really was. But it takes pages of probing this great mystery for anyone to realize it. The novel is really weak, mostly written like a murder mystery, and then the drawn-out ending where everyone pretends to not understand written English feels a bit condescending to the audience.